Cutting down the flooring, we found a little bump, one high floor joist. You can see how much this thing goes. It wasn't really obvious with the diagonal boards of the subfloor, so what I'm going to have to do is cut out the subfloor plywood here, cut out the diagonal boards and shave down the floor joist, because this is just too much of a hump. I'm going to be tiling this floor, and if I shim one side of it, it will leave a bump at the doorway. We took up the plywood where the hump is. Turns out that there's a wall underneath, and when they jammed the studs underneath, it pushed up on this one joist. So we took out the plywood, and then we got thinner plywood. Instead of 1/2 inch, we got 3/8, and then we planed down the center of it, try to go over the hump. And now I'll be able to tar paper this and just lay it in place, and that should take up at least the majority of the hump. Anything else can be feathered in with a thin set.
All right, so tell us a little bit about how this glue works.
You glue, you stick, and don't forget the weight. This is a pressure-sensitive glue, special for this Congolian Duraceramic. You put it down with a very, very fine notch trowel, and then you gotta wait for it to turn clear, tack-free. So when you touch it, you don't get anything on you. Then you put the tiles down; they go pretty easy, and then you get a 100-pound roller, and you roll out the floor. And the actual stick comes from the pressure put on it. It's not like a regular glue that's gooey. It sticks as soon as you touch it. Though this does have some initial tack. So I filled all my seams with a latex cement-based thin set type of deal, and smoothed it out. It's like I spackled the floor, and then I primed it with a latex cement and plywood primer, not a paint primer, and that is a bond enhancer, and that's the shiny stuff you see on here. It's clear. Now this stuff you put on, and it takes about an hour for it to turn clear and dry tack free. You have up to 12 hours to get the tiles on.
And after you put the tiles on, how long do you have, before you have to roll it?
It says to roll it immediately. So we'll just roll it immediately, both directions diagonally across the joints. And then you seal it. We're doing it without grout lines. So you seal it with it's a very thin seal. You just run it like a caulk, and it runs into the joints, and then you have to protect that for 24 hours. You have to limit traffic, protect the sealant, and that gets done immediately also. So I have all my corners over there to cut, all my edges show on the camera, all the way around into the pantry. All the edges have to get cut. So I put all the field tiles in, and now I'm spreading the glue because I'm going to have to wait an hour for this to dry. And while I'm waiting, I'll do all my cutting of all the edges. The way I laid this out, which is kind of nice, this doorway is exactly 2 tiles wide. So that was what I made be my starting point. I wanted to have my 2 tiles here, so there was no cuts. And then I used a laser level to run my line, and then that gave me my starting point. What I did was the laser level also projected on the ceiling all the way around, and I went parallel to the line of the tray up at the ceiling. So when you're standing back in the other room and you look down the line, these lines in the floor are going to be nice and parallel with that line in the ceiling, and it's just about even with it.
Should make a really nice focal line. Everything else just kind of fell from there. I wanted a full tile down there, which left a cut down here, which will get covered by a saddle, and the pantry opening fell nice, a full tile right down the center of the pantry opening. And that should make for a nice grout line, a nice pattern, no cuts where you don't want them. And this stuff cuts about the same as vinyl tile. Just simply score it and snap it. Just hang it over the edge where you scored it, snap it, it gives you a pretty clean edge. And that side will go up against the wall. And there's trim going around here and a cabinet, and that'll cover that up.
Superstar here.
And with that, the floor is complete.
Yay!